Windbreaker, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Hidden Feelings. For those who are wondering where all the fighting is, today we're fighting depression. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here, back for Geek Variants, where we cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Windbreaker. I gotta say, for a filler episode, it was rather fulfilling because, like, none of the plot got advanced as far as who's next in terms of our fighting. We haven't figured out who our mysterious villain was from early on, back at, say, episode 2. We still have a lot of major questions kind of rolling around in our heads. But this episode is very important for a number of reasons. While I'm not a fan of filler, I'm a fan of the reason why this filler episode was included. We needed to learn more about Tsubaki. While we were introduced to the individual last week, we don't really know too much about what motivates Tsubaki, what makes them do what they need to do, and what makes this individual so dang important to Farine, and why in the world Tsubaki is so enamored with everything Umamiya has going on. And to better introduce ourselves to this individual, Tsubaki is taking Sakura, Suo, and of course Nire right off on an adventure to where they can go ahead and introduce themselves to one and only Ito-san, who is an elderly gentleman who has basically taken Tsubaki under his and his now deceased wife's wing, so to speak. This elderly couple was people who like to dress up. They like to be fashionable. They like to present themselves well to others. They like having others go, "Oh, look how pretty this is. Look how nice this is. Look how elegant this is." Or they just kind of did it, for themselves. They weren't doing it to be overtly flashy, but it's what made them happy. And it's what made their relationship kind of have that little bit of a spark. And the husband Ito is always like, "My wife always dressed so fashionably. I just kind of wanted to keep up so that she would look at me the way that I look at her," which is a beautiful sentiment and something that can be replicated, I believe, in most, if not all, couples. And they were introduced to Tsubaki at a very, very, very young age, back when, it was back at Subakino. And Subakino was, someone who was struggling with their identity because Subakino was, born a male and at the same time was kind of based upon society forced to kind of be like, you need to be into this, you need to like this, you have to be all about that. Anything cutesy, elegant, makeup, lipstick, um, accessorizing, fashionizing, all this kind of stuff. Nope, can't do that. Not a part of any of that. But deep down, Subakino knew that he wanted to be more of a Subakina, and that absolutely, well, Subaki, sorry, and wanted to be more of a Subaki, and wanted to be able to have long hair, wanted to wear lipstick, wanted to wear flowing clothing, wanted to be able to accessorize, just wanted something else because that's what made Subaki happy. And until Subakino ran into this couple, there was absolutely no chance that was going to happen. Subakino was going to continue to conform because, in at least what the society that's being presented in this show, it's the traditional, well, the classic they have with the traditional side versus the new age side. Traditional side says everyone has to conform to standards, societal norms, things that have existed forever. Everything that has been the same will continue to stay the same. And then the new school form of thought is be who you are, be what makes you happy, even if it breaks traditional standards and norms, just do what makes you happy. And we have this classic struggle on both sides of trying to be where you're going to be within that society. And Subakino was going to end up over here. As Tsubaki, who's clearly happy, needed to be over here clearly. It wasn't even any stretch of the imagination. Wanted to be new school, wanted to be able to dress up, accessorize, talk about their feelings, talk about their thoughts, accentuate what was going on, and be able to just be who they are. And through this couple's love, that was able to happen. Our group got introduced into Ito-san after his wife has passed, and Tsubaki has been straight up like, this guy has been depressed. He's been in a tough lull. What we do and what I do is every so often I go and visit Ito and have a conversation with him. I just kind of help him go through the daily motions because he just needs a little bit more help now because the person he loved the most in this world is unfortunately no longer with him. So we do household stuff. We'll help change lights. We'll take out some garbage. We'll organize some things for him. We'll dust off some stuff, just little things. And then we'll just sit and have tea and have some conversation with him. He'll make us a meal as our way of thanks. And we'll just kind of keep going on as these episodes are going on. Just kind of, we'll help him keep going on, because sometimes when you're depressed, you sometimes just fall in a lull, and some of like the everyday stuff just kind of falls by the wayside. Which it can happen to anybody. Lulls can happen in everyone's life. Sometimes you just need someone to pick you up. Tsubaki and the gang are here to pick up Ito. And as they're picking up Ito, he's noticing very specific things about each individual. He notices Nire's hair. He notices Suo's earring. He notices Sakura's eyes, which, of course, Sakura being talked about by anybody makes him blush. The kid just hasn't been that part of society where people are kind to him. So his radar for sensitivity is all the way at peak. Anytime he gets any compliment, it just shuts him down. He doesn't know how to react, doesn't know how to think. I mean, he knows how to fight, but he doesn't know how to really express and go through his motions. So having Tsubaki here to kind of force him outside of his comfort zone has been absolutely fantastic. And as they're kind of there with Ito, they are starting to see him slowly peel off those layers and kind of get to know him a little bit. And they have a great first time together. And Tsubaki's like talking about how this couple was able to help him discover who it is he wants to be. He wants to wear makeup. He wants to wear dresses. And he wants to just be able to express his feelings openly in society without other people judging him. And I'm assuming at some point in time ran into Umamiya. And at that moment in time, acceptance happened. And next thing you know, Tsubaki is in love with Umamiya. And, we have one of the four kings establish themselves. So I'm assuming Tsubaki can absolutely grip it, rip it, and kick people's butt when the time absolutely comes. So probably should watch out for Tsubaki when Tsubaki is ripping and roaring. But the next day, everyone is so motivated by the first day, they decide, let's go back again. And as they're talking about things, they kind of notice that Ito has only got candid photos of his wife. She doesn't like head-on photos. She says they felt awkward or felt weird, and which, I absolutely understand. I'm not much of a photogenic person myself, so I get that. Candid photos kind of work better. At the same time, though, they notice that it's only of Ito taking pictures of his wife. And so they ask and inquire, like, hey, where's a photo of you guys? Do you have anywhere it's like straight on your shot, like you guys together, like even your wedding? And they don't have one of the wedding, but they have one of the dogwood tree in the backyard. And if you've noticed, or Suo noticed, that most of the trees that grow in the backyard don't really necessarily bloom, except for this one dogwood tree, which they took a photo of right in the center. And as they're discussing this, they ask Sakura point blank, hey, what do you see in this photo? And Sakura, being someone who doesn't even know how to lie yet, is like, I see two people happy and, in love together. And it just absolutely touches Ito's heart in a rather transcendent way. And he realized, because he's been reminiscing, he's like, it was an arranged marriage. We didn't really know if she liked me. I just knew the moment I saw her, I loved her, and that was it. We didn't really have time to like kind of get to know each other, kind of build up these foundational layers. And like, I always just tried to love on her and dote on her and treat her right. I just never know if she loved me back. And for a stranger like Sakura to be like, that photo clearly shows you guys are in love and you look so happy. He's like, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I missed this. Which, of course, Tsubaki chimes in is like, anyone capable of loving me when I was trying to figure out who I was clearly loved you, because they wouldn't be around anyone if they truly didn't, have those same feelings that you did. So it really helped Ito-san kind of grow and kind of realize, his wife truly loved him. And even though it was arranged, they made it work in the end. How this will impact our heroes moving forward, who can say? I'm really hoping we get back to some fighting real soon, but at the same time, as far as fillers are concerned, this was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so I can enjoy you hitting that lovely button. It's free, helps us out. And as always, hit the like button if you enjoy this style of video, as it'll suggest it to you moving forward as we continue to cover all things Windbreaker, Andor, Last of Us, and more. I'm Brent for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the next episode.